They never teach this in schools. You never hear about this. There are some times that you'll be ashamed of yourself when you've grown up to a particular stage. Maybe you're around 30 or 32 or so, and you begin to discover some things you should have known while you were 15, or like maybe in your early 20s. You never knew them, but now you've crossed a particular age, and then there are things that are beginning to unfold, and you're so lost. You're so lost, you're so ashamed of yourself. Why did I never discover this before now? Why didn't they teach this in schools? Why? Because they never want us to know. They never want us to know our history. And that is what I keep emphasizing I think up here on this channel. Know your history. Know your foundation. Know your ancestors. Know where you come from. Because when you don't know who you are, how do you know where to move to? How do you know what next is your mission when you don't even know who you are? How do you know who to mingle with and who not to mingle with when you don't know who you are?
Like a friend of mine usually says, Nigeria was named by someone's side chick. Yeah, we're talking about Flora Shaw. She was described to be the mistress of Lord Lugard. While it is upsetting to know how the name Nigeria came about to be, it is even more upsetting to know how exactly the country Nigeria came about to be. Check out this video and I'll meet you guys at the end.
But I just found out something crazy about the origins of Nigeria that shocked the hell out of me. Nigeria was never meant to be a country. It was something else entirely. In this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what I discovered. Oh, and I want to acknowledge Burna Boy for bringing my attention to this in his song Another Story on his album African Giant. Thank you for inspiring this video. And all of you, let Burna Boy know he got to me, and now I'm sharing this information with you. The creation of Nigeria was never about democracy, never about Christianity. It was all about money, business, and profit. None of it for us. Pay attention. The area now known as Nigeria was called the Slave Coast up to 1870. This was the point at which the British had stopped slave trading and moved on to palm oil as their primary commodity out of Nigeria. One of the main suppliers of palm oil was the Benin Kingdom, and you have to watch my video of one of the greatest African kings most of you have never heard of, Oba of Oranwen. This is an important story for me personally because I am from that region, so they are my people. And his fight with the empire over palm oil is one of the greatest stories of African colonial history. Anyway, everyone wanted palm oil, and especially the British. A man called George Goldie set up the United African Company in 1879, which was then changed to the National African Company. He structured the palm oil business in the Niger Delta region, and by 1884 he had a monopoly that the British could exploit. So in 1886, Goldie violated the agreement he had made with the chiefs and moved his operations into River Niger and Benue. The company was also renamed at this point to Royal Niger Company. Goldie tricked the chiefs into signing unfair trade deals, giving Goldie exclusive rights to export palm oil instead of what the chiefs thought would be free trade. These contracts were written in English, a language we didn't understand, and based on laws that were not our own. Now guys, this is similar to something I learned when I was in university about the deals done with the Native Americans in what is now known as the United States of America. A very similar thing where deals were done in contracts in English with laws that had nothing to do with the Native Americans. There was a meeting called the Berlin Conference in 1884 to 1885, set up by Germany's first chancellor, Otto von Bismarck. This was where the colonial powers discussed how to carve up Africa and structure trade across the pieces of our continent that they would take. We were not a part of this conversation. The best way to think of this is like the NBA draft. Guys were out there making bids between lunch breaks and spa sessions. At this conference, the kingdom of Opobo was given to Britain. When King Jaja of Opobo tried to export his own palm oil, he was accused of obstructing commerce and then exiled. How crazy is that? And on his way home in 1891, he was poisoned with a cup of tea. Guys, I couldn't make this stuff up. The Jaja of Opobo story made other chiefs in the region very wary of their deals with the British Empire. King Koko of Nembe Brass was one of those chiefs. He tried to take down the Royal Niger Company and attacked the company headquarters in Akassa, Bayelsa on January 29, 1895. King Koko captured 60 white men and lost 40 of his own soldiers. He used the 60 hostages to demand he be allowed free trade, the agreement he believed he had signed with the British Company in the first place. They refused, and he killed 40 of his hostages. The British Royal Navy retaliated by leveling the city of Brass completely on February 20th, 1895. King Koko went into exile, and the British not only took control of the palm oil he once had, but also fined the people of his kingdom £500 as well as confiscating their weapons. Tragically, King Koko committed suicide in exile in 1898 after being branded an outlaw by the British Company that had taken his kingdom, palm oil, and reputation. The Royal Niger Company sold its territory to the British government for £865,000 in the late 1800s. This territory was known as Nigeria. In 1914, the Southern Protectorate and Northern Protectorate was combined by Lord Lugard, and like that, the Royal Niger Company was rebranded as a country, which would gain independence on October 1st, 1960. Lugard is a place in Nigeria today, like there's a street called Lugard in Ikoyi. The Royal Niger Company changed its name to the Niger Company Limited, and it was then acquired by Unilever. Unilever still operates in Nigeria to this day. And that, my brothers and sisters, is how Nigeria came to be. We have a long way to go to fix the country, and it starts with the February elections. But we won't ever have a hope in a solution to our problems if we don't know how they started. Remember, it's not about asking anyone else to fix this. This is about knowing your history. Nigeria was never a country we created. It was a company designed by colonizers for profits. And a lot of the infrastructure put in place for that siphoning of resources out of our land are still very much in place today. Crude oil simply replaced palm oil, and soon lithium may replace crude oil. I feel angry not just for what happened to my ancestors, but the fact that I wasn't taught about this in school in Nigeria, and that our children are not being taught about these things now. Every Nigerian going to the polls should know everything about who we are and what we're up against and the creation of Nigeria.
Yeah, that's
As an African, do not deceive yourself and think there is anything called democracy. There is nothing called democracy. It has never existed and it will never exist in the continent of Africa. All is just the quest to have what they want to have and go. And they come to lie to us and tell us it is what you want that you get. It's a lie. It has never been what the masses wanted. It has always been what they want, their plans. Who they want to be on the seat, they do what they want and put that person there and make it look like it is the masses' decision. There have never been democracy, and there will never be, because it's also a tactics. One of their tactics to keep us down. They just use that word. It never existed in reality.
But here's three things that keeps Africa enslaved to the Chinese and the white man by virtue of their politicians. Number one, we have been distracted in America, the Caribbean, Africa, all over the world. It's a Pan-African problem. We have been distracted from development with democracy. Everybody's focusing on who to vote for. You're not looking at the conditions. What's going to change whether he wins or he wins? Because guess who's financing both of them? The same people stealing your oil. Who's financing both of them? The same people stealing your gold. Who's financing both of them? The same people stealing your coltan. You follow me? So democracy is a joke they play on black people to make you think you can have radical transformation without revolution. The reason the white man pushes democracy globally so hard is if there's ever a breakdown in the black man's confidence in democracy, the only alternative is revolution. So that's number one. Democracy is a distraction from development. Number two, when I travel, especially Africa, but it's true in the Caribbean also, black people are more concerned with their tribe being in control than they are with liberation from foreign control. Are you following me? I've seen it. So when the elections is coming up, it's not about freeing us from white supremacy or Chinese imperialism. It's about, are my people going to be the president? Is somebody from my tribe going to be the prime minister? And because they're more concerned about tribal imperialism than African independence, this democratic scheme that they run on black people continues because we're so petty and so small in our thinking. I just want to make sure his people don't get the presidency. I'm not even looking at the bigger picture. The white man knows this. The Chinese know this. So
no wonder, no matter the effort that the masses put in, Nigeria keeps remaining where it is and things get spoiled by day. It's like it's a never-ending war. It's like it's a never-ending problem. We are always synced into it by day. What if it's not this, it is that. The struggle for power, for money. Not knowing that it was never meant to be a country. It was created as a company, a source where money comes from. And that is how they see us today. And it's quite unfortunate, it is painful, it is disheartening, but it's the truth. That all of us in Africa, we are seen as a place, as a company where things generate from, as a company where money comes from. Whenever they need one thing to produce one thing, they come here to carry it. They don't care the health hazard, they don't care about who lose their lives. Whenever they need so amount of money to get this, they come to Africa to get what is equivalent to that amount. Whenever they need that, it's Africa they come to get. We are like a dumping ground. We are like a bin where they come to sort. What do you think? Leave your comment and thought there in the section, and I'll see you in my next one. Until then, love yourself, love others, stay safe, stay positive. Bye for now.